Welcome back, everybody. July 25th, the Market Update Desk with Scott Riley, sponsored by Mortgage One. We've had a pretty benign week so far this week, kind of what we predicted. Today, we got some more data coming in preparations for the all-important PCE report tomorrow, which will be very critical in determining Fed policy for rate trimming going forward. Now, earlier today, we had some great news. There was a $44 billion 7-year bond auction. So it's a really big bond auction. And it was actually graded an A minus. We saw a great deal of demand and a very diverse group of buyers within the auction. So what we very well might be seeing is these higher yield bonds getting a lot of attention in the market with the yields that they're at in preparation for a beginning of a decline in the Fed funds rate. So that's actually good for mortgage-backed securities. Now, we also got the first look of GDP for quarter two of this year. The market was factoring a 2% increase in GDP. Actually came in stronger than expected at 2.8%. When we dive into the numbers, we actually find 0.8 of that, or almost 1%, which was the higher than expected amount, came from inventory buildup. Now, realistically, that's not an item that's going to continue going forward. So this may be a one-off thing. And keep in mind, this is just the first look of GDP quarter two. So there's going to be revisions in the second and third look. Now, yesterday, we got something we've been talking quite a bit about, the quarterly, the QCEW, the quarterly census on earnings and wages. Now, that showed that jobs were overstated within the BLS jobs report in quarter four, so we're talking just one quarter, by 293,000 jobs. Now, we've talked about the deficiencies and the inability for the birth-death model to properly calculate small business job creation. The testament to that is that of the 293,000 jobs that were never there, 261,000 came from the birth-death model adjustments. So we've talked about how faulty that mechanism is, and this is just the validation of it, because the QCEW does register actual jobs as opposed to the imputed data that we get each month from BLS. Now, also within the quarterly GDP report, there's a quarterly PCE gauge. It's not as real time as what we get each month, but it's an interesting look. It showed that for the second quarter, the PCE increased by 2.9%. Now, the expected was 2.7, so a little bit hotter than what the market thought. But now keep in mind, just the previous quarter, so quarter one of 24, was up 3.7%. So we're seeing an 10 tenths decline in what the PCE inflation was within that GDP report. Durable goods orders. Now, this is kind of an interesting computation because it can be so skewed with aircraft purchases. Now, the durable goods orders was down 6.6% versus the market expecting a 0.3%. A lot of that factored into aircraft purchases, so that's a big driver of that. Another big number today was the initial jobless claims. That came in at 235,000, down 10,000 from last month, but still very, very elevated. Continuing claims continues to be a very difficult number. It dropped 9,000, but the continuing claims still was 1.851 million for the week. So these are all continuing data points on where the economy is. The jobs market is not as strong as what has been shown. It's slowing down. We're seeing, muted gain within the GDP. As we go now into the next big thing is tomorrow's PCE report. We're expecting up to a 0.2 decline compared to last month. That'll definitely help bonds out. We've been on a nice even pace with bonds. We think we'll pick up a little bit tomorrow. Then we go into next week with the Fed meeting and their rate decision. We're still not expecting a rate cut in July, although a lot of the data and economists are saying it really needs to be because the Fed's starting to get behind the wave. We're just showing more validation that September is going to be the rate cut. It's only going to be a question of, is it going to be a quarter or a 0.5%? We hope this data helps you out, gives you knowledge and information. The Market Update Desk is your original singular market news source for West Michigan. Give us a call. We'll help you get pre-approved for your mortgage, give you advice on what the market is doing, and answer your questions. 616-293